Okay, we're almost there. We're just about to turn off right. There's a board here telling you about it. It says the gate nearby takes you to the tiny and charming St Andrew's Church. There it is. So we've got Rollestone Manor on our right, and down here is the church. I can see it from here. What a lovely place. Oh, there's the river down there. Might take a wander down there later on. It does feel like you're about to go into somebody's property. And here's the gate to the church. So beyond there is somebody's drive. And here's the church, ladies and gentlemen. There's an outside loo in the churchyard, so that's probably over there. Oh, lovely looking seat up there. One outside, that's where I sat before. After a lovely 49-mile ride down the Wiley Valley, then over past Stonehenge, this is my accommodation for tonight. Not the graveyard, that. St Andrew's Church at Rollestone. Down the end of the track, the only other people down here, the people in that house there, got the whole of this church to myself. 13th century. It may already be open. The outer gate certainly is. I need to go and find the key anyway to be able to lock myself in tonight. Is it already open, or do I need to go and find the key? It is open. Oh, and here we are. Gosh, how lovely. Oh, hat off. There's my bed made up. So candles are not allowed in here, but they give you these artificial candles, look, battery powered ones, and all the lights. Oh, it just makes it so homely later on. Bottle opener, coffee cups. There's a kettle somewhere, I'm told. Oh, there it is down there. Chair. It's my bed. Oh yes, everything I wanted. If you've been a regular viewer and you've seen the last couple of camping churches I've been to, I went to the winter one up in the Cotswolds near Bybury. That had everything, including central heating. And I also went to one down at Bratton Fleming on the edge of Exmoor, North Somerset coast, Somerset and Devon border, and that was very, very well equipped. Kitchen, toilets and everything. Right, I am just going to go and find the key, so I know I can lock the place up later on, bring my bike in and put it around there. Oh, this is lovely. Okay, when you book and pay through the Champing website, they give you all the entry and access details, they give you contact numbers, they give you everything you need to know, give you the facilities and where to get the key. So I've just got that. Obviously I'm not going to share that, but I now am able to lock myself in, know my bike's secure if I want to go for a walk later on. I think I'm actually going to get changed, give my wife a call and plonk myself on that seat there. Beast, isn't it? Wow. It's about 10 to 6. You can see nicely cosy in here. Got myself set up. Can you hear the helicopters going over really low? Really are on the edge of Salisbury Plain. It's all my clothes airing for tomorrow. Got all these artificial candles and fairy lights. It's a bottle of Prosecco I got from down in the village. Bought my own wine glass for me. There's no running water here, so their partner charity supplies that water aid. As soon as the electric lights come on, there must be some backlights behind the arch, and just the chancel window just really, really lit up. I've said this before, chancel was my favourite part of the church. Up a couple of steps to the higher level, up to the altar rail. There's my bed all made. And I discovered this. I thought, oh, what does that do? And it turns on and off all these lights without I'm out having to reset them myself. And there's battery lanterns or flashlights there for later on. Really homely. Gosh, it sounds like somebody's mowing the lawn out here. Oh yes, there is, look. Someone on a lawnmower. Now that's the River Till down there. This is going to my chill out seat here. There's also a seat under that tree there if you wanted a bit of shelter. And John, my point of contact, just came down about 10 minutes ago, showing me around. It's always nice to have someone come, or a phone number, just in case you cannot find anything or you have any queries. He's telling me they do food down in the manor and I can get to it through that gate there. Let me show you around this amazing toilet. I love these wooden outside loos where it's really been blended in to the environment. It's got the ivy growing around it, painted green. It's got like the ecclesiastical arch door. So let me show you in here. This is so nice, like a little tile. It's so clean and light inside. He's told me there's a light here which he himself wired in. Yep, it's a dry loo. Never ever lift the seat, because what happens is when you press down it opens that, so you have to do everything sat down. So there's paper there, brush, bin, air freshener. I've got my own hand jar, soap and water. There's all the instructions there. So maybe having that bottle of wine tonight's not such a good idea, because if I need to get up in the night I need to walk across. Just scrambled a lot quickly. Just gone 7 PM on first glass of wine. Lovely evening. There's a red kite that's flying around. Comes around every few minutes, just circles very slowly, but when it does, gosh, there's so many birds in those trees, just scarper in numbers. You can hear them but you can't see them until the kite appears, and they just disappear in numbers and then gradually come back. Just waiting for the kite to come back, see if I can film it. It's going to be a lovely evening. Cheers. Lovely way to spend a mid-April evening. Beautiful. This is absolutely perfect end of the day for me. I had a great cycle ride. I was prepared for rain. That's why I left so early. I gave myself ample time to hole up in bus charters or anywhere I could find out the rain if I needed to. There was twice, literally very few fine spots on my face. It lasted no more than about 30 seconds. That was it, and now it's a lovely evening. It's April the 16th today, I think, so middle of the month. And spring has really sprung since I spoke to you last on my last video. I've been in shorts for about the last 3 or 4 weeks. I've been out in short sleeves a couple of times. I should have been in short sleeves today. I just kept sort of thinking about that BBC weather forecast. High probability of rain this afternoon. I thought, don't get too cosy and then get cold and wet. But I wish I'd taken the long sleeve top off in hindsight, because I was quite overheating quite a bit of the afternoon actually. Anyway, not complaining. Lovely day, and it's just a superb evening here. I couldn't want more. This is just ideal for me. More helicopters going over. As it's darkening, I've just been in the church and put the mains lights on. I'm very aware it's a charity, so I don't want to cause them more expense or incur more costs than I need to, so I've refrained from putting the electric lights on until now. I've got my camera up there on that seat looking at the east window, so it's facing west, so hopefully that'll capture the sunset. And it really is quite evocative here. You see there's a little bell cote up there, wooden structure around it, a tower. I'm pretty sure there's a nest in there. I was looking up there earlier on and I zoomed in with my camera and it looks like there's a nest up there, so whether there's going to be some chicks up there or not, I don't know. Churches are well known for having bat colonies. Maybe there's going to be some blackbirds or pigeons or I don't know what. But wildlife and birdsong everywhere. Just a glorious place. Looking down in that person's property, but you can see the stream running along there. Silver slither. Oh, this is just everything I want from a night away from home. It's over in it's just a one-nighter, but it feels fantastic already. It's not even dark yet. About 9:30 now and it's really pitch black in here. I can just hear traffic going by on that road alongside us, and I can also hear helicopters circling. There's so much military activity around here. I saw a couple of Chinooks flying really low earlier on. In fact, I heard them way before I saw them, and then when you see them you just think it's like a shoebox, isn't it? No aerodynamics. How on earth does that stay airborne? And it's just the power of the rotors, isn't it? So that was quite impressive. I love sitting outside here tonight. I've just been to the loo after my bottle of wine twice. I'll probably have to get up during the night, and yes, I will walk across there. It's a churchyard after all. I don't want to desecrate it. The church is lit up now inside, and that's where I'll be sleeping over there, that very narrow window. That's the chancel. I've just loved it here, I really have. So I heard so much bird song earlier on. As it got dark I could not see much, I could just hear everything. And you may hear it coming out on camera. There's just a helicopter circling overhead. Must be doing night exercises up on Salisbury Plain. And you just hear the odd car going by that way. But just there's a wealth of nightlife around here. Starting to hear all the nightlife come, wake up and do its stuff. I'm just loving this, just looking at the porch, the nave and the chancel, knowing that's my accommodation for the night. And I've got my key. Once I go inside I'll be able to lock myself in. Now I'm safe and secure. Have a good night's sleep, and then hopefully come out here and have a cup of coffee on that seat in the morning. Look at all these lovely gravestones, really old ones here. Cannot read the inscriptions anymore. Somebody's loved ones. That dad and mum grave I saw earlier on, that was just so evocative. It just really hit a nerve earlier on. I was trying to explain why that was so. I'm not sure if it came out very well. I'm just loving this so much. Another 10-15 minutes and I'll be going inside hitting the hay. Been over to the loo for my last visit before going into church and getting into bed. Snail there and the spider. There's so much wildlife. And over here I was just reflecting at this grave actually. Started reading the writing. It says, "In loving memory of Barbara Knipe, W. AAF, daughter of Mrs. Hunt of Bournemouth, died on active service December the 18th 1940, aged 24 years. Gosh, I will be done." And I just kind of nodded my head to pay respect. I saw these snails down here. There's just so much wildlife in this churchyard. Seen a couple of badgers, foxes so far. Earlier on there was so many birds in the trees. I've said it before actually, if you ever see churchyards that looked a little bit uncared for and unkempt, it's normally planned, it's deliberate. They tend to keep the pathways clear, maybe the modern graves, and they let it wild as it goes back further, just to encourage so much wildlife. I really have seen so much wildlife. Gosh, I nearly trod on those walking back. Not deliberately. Gosh, they're just everywhere, all these snails. There's so much wildlife. Slug down there, slugs everywhere. Okay, it's only about 10:30 at night, but for me, being an early riser and an early go to bedder, this is quite a late night for me. It's been wonderful just sat on there, drinking my bottle of wine, just watching the day turn into night and just reflect back on the day. I've kept the lights low. I've just got the chancel lights on. You can see they're behind the arch from the nave into the chancel, just lighting up the chancel. There's all the fairy lights there and the candles. Quite looking forward to getting into bed actually. Oh gosh, it tells you there a bit about the wildlife. Oh, bats, look. Oh, I absolutely love this. Really nice rustic church. Gosh, look, there's even a ladybird on my camera. Can you see it? Oh, this is just such a wonderful place for wildlife. Right, so I'm going to try and turn all these candles off easily. Well, that was nice. What about those? Oh yeah, it's great, isn't it? Just got to work out the button for these. Maybe hold it in. No. Oh gosh, I'm going to struggle to sleep if I can't get these off. Gosh. Oh, there they are. Just hold it down for a few seconds. Just need to get the main lights there from the mains. I'm probably going to need my head torch for this. Bike at the back. Get those wheels nicely lit up. Okay. Lock the door. Yeah, nobody can get in. My bottle of wine to get rid of tomorrow. My lovely cosy bed up the steps in the chancel. Okay, from St Andrew's at Rollestone, I'll say good night. Good night.
Good morning, good morning. It's coming up to about 5 to 7 on Friday morning now, Friday the 17th of March it will be. I slept quite well last night. The inevitable question, did you have to get up in the night? And the inevitable answer is yes, about 2:30 AM. I had a wander around the churchyard as well, about 3 AM, that's quite nice. Pitch black down here, really was, and especially so in the church. Even though I had clear windows either side of me in the chancel and the stained glass window behind, it really was pitch black in here. You could just see the outline of the window, but hardly any light was coming through. I guess because of that middle of the night trip over to the WC and then the wander around the churchyard, it took me a while to get back off, which is why I've slept in this morning. I've been awake since about 6 AM. It's taken me about 40 minutes just to move myself out of my lovely warm cosy sleeping bag. You may hear the kettle's on, so I'm just about to make a cup of coffee and go and sit outside. The kettle's just boiling, so I'm going to sit outside and have a cup of coffee. I was lovely and warm in bed last night. I've got my Softy 3, which has got a low down to about 0, I think, and the comfort down to something like +3, and I was lovely and warm, I really was. I bought a cotton liner as well. I've got my foldable pillow, can't get on with inflatables. They've made the camp bed up for me, and they supplied a couple of these blankets. They're like fleecy material, so I had 2 of those underneath me, and I was lovely and warm, toasty warm. Even when I got up in the night, I didn't put all my clothes on, just a jacket and the shorts. I'm just going to have a wander over to the WC and also get an idea of what the weather's like out there. It looks a bit grey this morning, but it's hard to tell reading here. As I said, it was forecast a very high percentage to rain yesterday afternoon, and it didn't. So then I thought, well, maybe it'd be in the evening or possibly during the night. But when I had the wander around the church this morning, 3 a.m, there was no sign of rain. And so I'm wondering if I'll get it. I don't know, there'll be one way to find out. Let's go over and have a look. Well, it's quite warm out here actually. I was expecting there to be quite a mist or a dampness, because you know I'm at the top of a river valley, but even the grass is quite dry. Maybe it's the wind. You can hear it in the trees but not feel it here, but I'm probably going to have a bit of wind on my way back to Bath today. Just waiting for my cup of coffee to cool a little bit so I can drink it. So yesterday when I arrived, I just tried to really savour the awe of this place and the experience in the arrival. So I deliberately didn't tell you too much about the church, but it's got an interesting backstory. One of the things I love is the flint and bedded in. One of the things I really love are these pieces of flint bedded into limestone. So I'll quickly give you a close-up of that and show you. Just such a lovely pattern. It just makes you want to put your hands over it, although not too roughly, because some of the bits of flint look quite sharp. Look at these bedded in lime mortar. They're really nice. I imagine if they were polished up, they would look really, really nice as a bit of jewellery. But from a distance, they just give it that wonderful patchwork feel. As I said yesterday, it's very typical of the buildings around here. You see barns and houses of this kind of pattern. So I had been here before, not to stay, to visit. So that was part of my Wiltshire Churches Conservation Trust, the CCT project, where I visited all the CCT properties in the historic county of Wiltshire a few years ago, and this was one of them. On that trip, I think I got the train down to Warminster, rode down towards Salisbury, and then looped up this way. And one of the trips, I got the train back from Andover, but it may have been this one. But that's when I visited here. I remember arriving here down that track round about lunchtime, and this was just a sun trap, and so I knew this seat was here, and I knew that's probably where I'd sit last night. So that's how I come to know about the church. Some of the churches I visit, I always know I want to go back to at some point. I don't know when, but they're kind of logged away in my memory, and this was definitely one of them. Champing is in partnership. It's a part of the Churches Conservation Trust, I believe. It's for fundraising, but also it's giving people like myself brilliant experiences. If you've never tried it, I'd highly recommend it. You'll either like it or you won't. I love it. I'm signed up to the Champing newsletter, and over the winter they said, look, we're trying winter champing, and there was a couple of winter properties. I thought, gosh, you know, churches are quite cold in the summer sometimes. What are they going to be like in the winter? And then I went to that one up at Bybury, and that was the one with the central heating in. I didn't know what to expect. I was too warm in that because I'd cranked the central heating up, and then I turned it down just before going to bed, but it was still too hot, and I'd taken my winter sleeping bag and everything. As I said, I just didn't know what to expect. So in the end, I turned everything off, and of course the pipes creaked and groaned for about an hour or so. I remember that kept me awake for a while, but I was just unprepared for just how warm and cosy it was. And then they said in the spring newsletter this one was available, and I straight away thought, oh, as soon as it opens I'm going to go. I may well be the first person to champ here. Well, I'm not, because I was going to come last week, but apparently a couple got in before me. I noticed there was a block of days the week after Easter that were booked, and I thought, hey ho, somebody's got in before me. That gentleman I was speaking to outside last night, he said, yeah, he didn't see them, but he said he saw a couple of bunks made up for a few days inside, so it must have been a couple. So I'm probably the third person to have champed here after that couple. And when I visited this church on the Wiltshire CCT Churches project, there was a couple down in Shrewton. There's one down there I really want to go back to this morning. I'm not going to film it because I've done it on another video. You may have seen from my route yesterday, I came down the Wye Valley, then did that hook, so I'm already on my way home. If you go to the Churches Conservation Trust website, there you go, Churches Conservation Trust, CCT. Each church has its own page listing, and you can download this as a PDF. I had done. I was going to read this off the phone, but I thought, hey, what's the point? They've put a laminated copy here. So a little bit about St Andrews. If you want to know everything else on the back, as I said, it's in PDF form to download. It says about St Andrews: Rollestone appears in Domesday Book as Winterbourne, but no church is mentioned. In the 13th century it became Rollestone, the town or settlement belonging to Rolf, the manorial tenant. The church is first recorded in 1291, but appears to have been built earlier that century. There is no record of its dedication to St Andrew before 1845. By the early 14th century, the Knights Hospitallers were appointing the rector and continued to do so until the dissolution of the monastic orders in the 16th century. A local legend that Henry VIII's third wife, Jane Seymour, was baptised here is a misapprehension caused by the record of another Jane Seymour's baptism in 1637. A couple of things here just worth mentioning. The Domesday Book, we've all heard about it. I didn't know what it was for years. After the Norman invasion of 1066, I think it began around about 1086. It was just a record of what the Normans had conquered. It was a kind of census, a tax record, so they could tax people. So it wasn't mentioned in 1086, which would make sense, wouldn't it, if it's built sometime in the early 1200s. First recorded in 1291, but it appears to have been built earlier in the 1200s. And the Knights Hospitallers, or Hospitallers, I don't know how you pronounce it. I didn't know what that was. I looked it up the other day, and it was religious knights who provided medical care and hospitals. There you go, didn't know that. So I'll put a little screen grab of that up now just to explain it a little bit more clearly. And at the bottom it says, in 1992 St Andrews was declared redundant and passed into the care of the Churches Conservation Trust. It remains a consecrated building used for occasional services and other events. On the back there's just one thing I want to show you. I noticed when I wandered round the back of the church there, it looked like a sealed up north door, and then as soon as you walk in you can see it. At first I just thought it was a recess, and then you sort of think it's obvious, isn't it, because they've put the pews in front of it, but it's obvious that used to be a north door. So once upon a time it had the south door and the north door. Whether that catered for the manor down there or not, I don't know, whether the manor was even there when it was built. But it just tells you a little bit about the north door. It says the blocked north door would have been used when the congregation was taking part in a procession through the church, which formed an ancient part of medieval worship. I didn't know that. I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner, and I just get a buzz from learning new things. I understand it's dopamine actually, but I didn't know that for years. Which is why I've learned over the years just how to maximise my pleasure from cycling. I love camping, I love the outdoors, I love churches, I love learning, I love cycling. When you just combine them all together, it just turbocharges the pleasure I get from it. It's about 8:30 AM now. All my sleep system's packed up. I'm starting to get things in piles.
ready to pack up. Probably will be on the road soon after 9 AM. There's no rush. I've just come up to have one last look at this. I was up here quite a bit last night with my wine on there, looking down at the River Till along there. See a couple of swans down there. But it was really obvious last night where the road goes, because you could see the lights, and there was a lot of tracks I was seeing as well. So you may not see it over there because this is a wide angled camera, but you can see the course to A361 along there that went along to that roundabout at Stonehenge by the visitor centre, then came down past here. But I'm seeing this morning lots of cars going along there as well, and there's looks like a farm track down there. I saw lots of activity, lights going up and down that last night, maybe tractors going back. See a car running along the top, just about to emerge on the left of those trees. So it all came to life last night, but I loved it up here, just looking down at my church, which was all lit up. These wonderful bluebells. The route back this morning is 34.1 miles. That includes dropping down into Shrewton and going up to have a look at St Mary's Church called Maddington. I think the parishes merge here, which is why there's this redundant church. Going to look around that. That's one I went to on the CCT Wiltshire project, and I've always wanted to go back there, and it's literally just off route on the way home. And then I'll be heading, I think it's, what would it be, northwest-ish. I'm running parallel to what I did yesterday, then I'll merge round about the outskirts of Warminster, then take the normal route back through Upton, Scudamore, Dilton Marsh, that way back to Bath. Helicopter started already, Salisbury Plain exercises. This was absolutely wonderful last night, all lit up. I've put no electric lights on this morning. I'm very aware that energy costs money, doesn't it? And I don't want them to incur more expenses than they have to. I'm just looking up that little bell cote. It's got like a wooden structure and a slated pitch roof, and there's birds in and out of that last night. And when I looked up there, I zoomed in with the camera, looked like there was a lot of nesting material sticking out. So I've packed everything up outside. I'm going to go in reluctantly, get changed, start doing my packing, and I'll be on my way shortly. I've found with champing is don't spread yourself out too widely. When you first get to a big church, you think, great, I've got the whole place to myself. Then the next morning you're going around trying to find things, especially on dark stained pews. So I've tried to keep this area for my kit basically. And I've said this many times before, I'm very forgetful. So it's what I do at home. I'll do one job at a time. So at the moment, you can see I've made my bed up, put the sheets away, and I'm just going to pack my clothes up, put that in their stuff sacks, along with my wash kit and towel, clean my teeth. And then it will be everything else, coffee, all my utensils, that sort of thing. And then they'll all be in piles ready when I pack. I'm just giving my phone a charge, make sure I do not leave without that, otherwise I have to come back 34 miles. That's for me, that's the best way I've found. Try not to spread yourself out too much, especially if somebody comes in and talks. Distractions are absolutely lethal. It's just coming up to 9 AM. I'm pretty much ready to take my bike, my bags outside, start getting ready for departure. There's the camp bed as I found it, with the 2 fleecy sheets, blankets underneath. Mike did say he'd switched the plug on at the mains, and then there's the power for this dispensing unit, and there's a USB-C charger, which he tells me is for these lanterns. I never needed them last night. I've been using the kettle and my own plug to be charged, so I've deactivated that. I've been asked to leave the church open. I've returned the key to its safe place of storage, and I've left it as I found it, hopefully, and rather reluctantly I'm going to be leaving shortly. As I do with any church I visit, I always sign the visitor's book. As I understand it, the more people that visit, the more access they've got to funding. So there we are, 16th and 17th of the 4th, 26th, and you see, I put in 2, I don't know what made me do that. 1, Bath Sunset, church crawler, champing, lovely. 3 X's a bit over the top, but I have loved it here. So I'm going to take my bike outside, bring my panniers out, give it one last sweep to make sure I've not forgotten anything, and then we'll be on our way. It's just gone 9 AM. Everything's left as I've been asked to leave it. I'm just going to give John a quick text just to let him know I'm going and I've switched everything off, etc. Then I'll be heading down into Shrewton. Going to go to St Mary's Church first of all. It's one of the CCT ones I've always wanted to go back to, and it's literally just about a quarter of a mile off route. Then I'll be heading back to Bath. Next video will either be a part of the Somerset and Dorset Railway, which has been reopened as a greenway through Windsor Hill tunnels. I rode out there recently on one of my rides, and I've also been going up around the Badminton estate, and there's some gravel tracks around there that I've discovered. So the next video will be one of those two. I'll film them both over the coming weeks. In the meantime, thank you for watching if you got this far, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.